All right, greetings, all my students. We're going to be doing some math today. We're actually going to be doing two different things. This is actually pre-calculus, but it's covered in also algebra as well. And what we're going to be covering is we're going to find the slope of the pair of points. Okay, finding a slope of a pair of points, and I'm going to give you those pair of points, and then you're going to be able to determine the slope. So let's get right to it. All right, so as you can see here on the screen here, I have find the slope of a pair of points. And right here in the middle in purple, this is actually the formula that we're going to be using to be able to find the slope. And the formula is change in y divided by change in x. And remember, change just means difference or subtraction. And so basically what we're going to be doing is subtracting y, the two y values, and also we're going to be subtracting the two x values. Well, what are the y values and the x values? Let's color code them. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's make the y, we'll make that green. Okay, so our y's, and remember, our y is always the second number. Okay, it's always the second number. So these are two different problems, one's to the left and one's to the right. So we're gonna do the one to the left first here. Okay, so right here, this is a y, this is a y, and then we'll make the x's blue. Now this is their x, and this is an x. And what is that? Well, X represents the run, okay? Y represents the rise. And if you picture it as an airplane, before an airplane could rise and get everybody in the air, you're going to have to run first, right? It has to run through the runway. All right, so we have these labeled here. We said change in y and change in x, and I'm gonna tell you how simple this is. Actually, all we're doing is we're subtracting this problem right here, which is a y, with the other y over here. But here's the thing: you have to write it out just like this: zero minus, and we put this 3. Okay, so that's all we do with that. Now for the bottom here, I'm gonna put same thing. The -5 comes first. I'm sorry, the 5 comes first and then -5. And this is where some people are making a mistake. You always have to put the minus symbol there. 5 minus, and then there's a -5 there, so that's a double negative. And that's where a lot of people made a mistake on some of their assignments and tests. Now, at this point, we have to look at our integer rules. When we have double negatives, those double negatives must become, yes, positive. And so these double negatives right here, that has to become a positive. And so I'm going to rewrite this. Now, we know that this is 0 minus 3. And then this becomes 5 plus 5. And we know that's 10. And we're not done yet. This is actually -3 at the top here. And actually a 10 at the bottom. And that is pretty much your answer right there. That's your slope, -3/10. And basically, if we were to write this out right here as a pair of points, it would be 10, and then it'll be -3. So that's how it would be written here. But this is actually your answer. Okay. All right. Let's do this one over here to do it the same exact way. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and label our points. So we'll go ahead and make the y's here, the y here, and the y there. And then we'll go ahead and put our x values here. So our x is here and our x is there. Just like we did in the last problem. We said that we're going to go ahead and subtract the y's, the difference in y's. So we have a 4 here, so let's write that out. 4 minus, and there's already a -4 here, so that means we have a double negative, right? Okay, then on this side here, we do the same thing here. We had the 2's, so we're going to go ahead and say -1, and then we have a -2 here. So let's write that out. -1 minus -2. A lot of people, you're missing that minus. The minus goes there regardless of whatever's over here. So it looks like we're going to have double negatives here once again. So we have a double negative. We have double negatives here. This is going to be a plus. We have a double negative here. That's going to be a plus. So let's rewrite this. We don't make a mistake. This is 4 plus 4. So let's write that 4 plus 4, right? Because that became a positive. And then down here, we have a negative 1. And this became plus here, plus 2. And if we do our math correctly, we have a 4 plus 4, which we know it to be, yes, 8. And then over here, we have a negative 1, and then we have a positive 2. Those signs are different. So what do we do when our signs are different? Yes, we subtract. And when we subtract, this is just a positive 2 and a negative 1. We know that's going to be 1. And we keep the sign of the larger number. The larger number is 2. So obviously, this is 8 over 1. And 8 over 1 is merely just 8. Okay? So that's basically what our answer is on that problem. And as long as you remember to know, as long as you remember the change in y and the change in x formula, you shouldn't have any problem with these particular challenges. All right. So all right, so let's go ahead and see if you did these correctly. So we want to do the same thing we did in the previous challenges. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and label my y's and my x's, and we'll go ahead and color code them the same way we did the last one. The first thing I start off with, I have a y right here, I have a y right there, and we might as well do the others over here too. We're going to get to those in a second. So we have the y's there, and then we have the x value. We're going to put that in blue. And so our formula said the first thing we want to do is to see the change in y and the change in x. Okay, and so to do so, we want to go ahead and we have the 5s here. These are actually our x values. So I have 5 minus, there's already a minus there in the 5, negative 5, right? I do the same thing with the bottom one here, negative 5. And 4. Okay, so go ahead and do that. That's the x value would be negative 5 minus 4. Okay, and you got to remember your double negatives here. We got double negatives here. That's going to become a plus. So that's actually 5 plus 5, right? And right here, we have a negative 5 and a negative 4. Now, this is adding subtraction rules. You got two numbers here. They're both negative. And what is our rules when we're adding? We're doing our adding and subtraction rules, and we have two signs that are the same. Yes, we add and we keep the same sign. So if we're going to add these two, what's going to be? Yeah, it's going to be 9. It'll be a negative 9. And so now we have 5 plus 5, we know to be 10. And then right here, we have a negative 9 here. So we have 10 over negative 9. And so if you got that, give yourself a round of applause. And actually, let me show you here, actually the way we write this is just like this. So that negative is going to apply to the whole problem. So that'll be your answer, negative 10 ninths. Okay, if you got that, give yourself a round of applause. Okay, so let's go over here to our other side here. It looks like I got my x values, my y values. Let me get my x values in here. Okay, so we do the same thing we did before. We're going to go ahead and let's look at the y's. So this is 4 minus negative 1, right? And then below that, I have the x's, which is 0 minus 5. Okay, remember these two become a positive, double negative. So that's 4 plus 1 is, which is what? Yes, it is 5. And then what is a 0 and a negative 5? Now these two signs are different, right? We have to subtract. If we subtract negative 5 and 0, we know we're going to get a negative 5, right? And looking at this one right here, if this is a negative 5 and 5, negative 5 times what is 5? Yes, it would be negative 1. It has to be negative 1 because remember, a negative times a negative is a positive. In order for that to be a positive in here, which it is, this would have to be negative. We can't change this one, but we can change this one right here. So our answer to our challenge should have been -1. If you got -1, give yourself a round of applause. All right, well, good work, you guys. Will take this information and go ahead and finish the worksheet that I have attached to our next assignment. Okay, well, good work.